Today's episode is brought to you by DeSanto Propane. DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane. All right. So first things first, Angela and Stacy here. Let's do a little personal background. Angela, your time is wrapping up here fairly soon. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to that decision.
So it's healthy for an organization to have change, I think, is one piece. And last time we talked about the Open Access Detox and Stabilization Center, which has been about a 7-8 year labor of love. And I need to rest. It was particularly difficult keeping that going through COVID and all kinds of, changes in administrations and all of that. And it's really time. I sort of have always said I didn't want to be that person who either never made it to retirement or didn't get to retire, and wasn't able to enjoy retirement. And so for me, it's about, I keep saying R&R, which is rest and recalibrate, right? Instead of relax. So I'm not quite sure what's next, but I really do feel like I've worked really hard for 12 years to position the organization to, be ready to do what's next. I built a great team. Ta-da.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of why we're talking today is just that. Tell us a little bit about your successor here and how that decision was made and how that came to be.
Well, Stacy is a 22-year employee of the council. She's essentially worked her way through the organization structure. She's really grounded in our community and the region. She served most recently as the Director of Prevention and Education, as well as the Assistant Executive Director. So it was a really logical pick for the Board of Directors. Yeah. I make recommendations. Of course, the board picks who the interim is, and Stacy was well positioned to take on that role. She has been sort of that, we have similar positions, right? We were very outward facing, which is a little different than the rest of the organization that's working more towards treatment. And so I've gotten to know her pretty well. And I think she'll do great. I think she'll do fantastic.
Stacy, the last, however long this process has been, I'm curious, the mindset that you've had going through it and looking forward. I would imagine there's excitement, there's some nerves, there's a whole bunch of different things that you're feeling. Talk to us a little bit about what that has been like for you personally.
Oh, goodness. I mean, it does feel like it should be something that we did that's amazing and different, but I don't think I ever saw it that way. I think it really is just an extension of what we do and how we care for our client. It was a logical extension. This team has we've seen a need and we've responded to it. And I see this as the same thing, just on a much grander scale, but we saw a need and we responded to it. So to me, it was okay, this is what we're doing. Let's do it. And I think I'm hopefully carrying that on into this role this is what we need to do. Let's do it, instead of getting bogged down in, inside my head, I'm freaking out, but I think it's just one step at a time, What's next. And we've handled it up until now. We'll handle it going, but we'll deal with whatever is going to come next. So I think it's just in continuing that philosophy and that mission and that value. I do think, yes, there is this aspect of a whole new set of services, although that's not even, I think that's going to be fine. I think it's more like a whole new size and all these new people. And that's been sort of the most daunting and I think that's going to be a welcome challenge to, but that I'm already walking around thinking, there's all these people here. It's so different. We have a kitchen, we have a cook now, we have a person who's cooking food, and we've never had that. So it's going to be different, and it's going to be exciting. And I mean, I think we're going to soldier on like we always have.
What's the timeline look like for retirement, transition, and then that next phase of leadership for the organization?
Well, we're talking right before that happens. So my last day in the office is tomorrow, Friday.
Well, see you later then.
Yeah. And we've been working behind the scenes on this for quite a while. And as you can imagine, as a executive position, I've accrued quite a bit of vacation time. And so I'll be still around. I'm not moving away. But my last official day in office is on Friday. And then on Tuesday, Stacy is the interim executive director.
Yeah, and the board has formed a search committee. So there will be an opening nationwide, I believe, search for an executive director.
Very good. Let's talk about this facility, shall we? Angela, the last time we talked, I think we were still like 30 days-ish away from opening. I'm curious what that first week or so in operation was actually like.
So it wasn't. It has not, because we still are in the same boat of not having enough nurses, RNs in particular. So we are, the building is fantastic. Thank you for the great video you shared last time. And it is getting staffed up in every other realm. Like Stacey was saying, we have staff, we have, somebody doing facilities and gardening and all of that. Like everything's ready to get going except the medical side. And so we've been talking with the state Office of Addiction Services and Supports to see if there's some sort of graduated opening that we can do, or open with some of the services, not all of the services. And actually, Stacey was part of that discussion. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, and maybe just a second that we're having discussions to see with the staff that we have and conceivably will have in a few weeks, what services are we able to offer, and start doing that as we then fill in the rest to be able to open the full or the rest of the services. So we're close. I think we're the closest we've been, but it's still not yet there.
And that's just a matter of the reality of kind of the job market, right? That's just sort of high demand, not a ton of candidates, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And the candidates that are there have their pick of they want to do. So we're trying to get out the message about how great of a place this is to work for all staff, and hope that draws some interest and draws some folks into wanting to be here, part of this team.
Yeah, I would just add that, because hopefully some of them will hear this message, right? That we do really focus on work-life balance. We absolutely are work under very caring, compassionate model, both for staff and for the patients we treat, and that it's pretty much set hours, which is rare for nursing, right? So it is part of that balance of things that on the surface you might not think like it's equal to, say, some of the higher payers, if you will, sort of employers. Sure. But the benefit side of it is at least comparable, if not better. So, and it's a great team. Like I said, we had an all-staff meeting and our chef cooked us brunch. Like, it's great.
So I guess as a follow-up to that, it's kind of interesting, right? Because from the news guy standpoint, I'm looking at this, and here you guys are, this incredible facility built from the ground up, because there was a demand and because there was a lack of resources in a rural area. It's there, and yet here we are, lack of manpower, and kind of like it's like one challenge after another. Is there like a level of frustration, or like is it just still at this point we're going to get this thing done. We're going to find it. It might be a month or it might be a month and a half, or I don't know how you guys are approaching that, but like, is it challenging to stay positive on that side at all? Or have you just been so busy that, it's just head down, keep going?
Um, so all of the above is probably the answer, but um, I think people in the community recognize that, because when we did the ribbon cutting and had this broad array of speakers, every single one of them used the word tenacious in some way or another, right? That, Alcohol and Drug Council stepped up and said, we are going to do this. There's no reason there shouldn't be detox services in this region that people can access easily. And so we said, we're going to do it. And basically we just keep, as Stacy said, one step, after another. Okay, this is an obstacle. How do we tear down that obstacle, go around that obstacle, turn that obstacle into a stepping stone, how do we just keep going? And, and again, that's why we're talking to the state to see like, hey, we have it. We're almost ready to go. It seems awful to not start seeing patients.
Yeah.
And so what, let's get together and talk creatively about how we can do this. I mean, there are other conversations going on too in the background. Like, I think we can say this. We talked with a local community member who said, hey, you might want to think about talking to Cornell Health. Their nursing staff decreases over the summer, right? They have summers off, or they're furloughed, or I don't know what the term is for them.
Yeah.
And so we reached out to Cornell Health, and we've actually had applicants who are willing to help us get started. So, we have to think creatively. We are not, especially for nursing, it's not like a rich, pool to pull from, or whatever, an abundant pool, I guess is what I would say. And so we need to start thinking about how to be more creative. And this team, I have no qualms about retiring and leaving it to this team, because they are an amazing group of, innovative problem solvers. They will get things done.
Yeah, absolutely. Has the state been receptive in those conversations?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Actually, they are really supportive of the work. Certainly they have their risk, regulations they have to work around too. And the message has always been, it's this way, and we'll help you. It should go through quick. What do you need? Let's meet, let's talk, think about this. Here's a consideration. I've absolutely, I don't want to say this because I was a little taken aback about how supportive they were. I guess I expected the opposite. I don't know why. And it really was a message of we will help whatever you need, or I will find this out for you. So they have been very supportive.
Very cool. My last question for you here, since we're on the topic, where can those qualified nurses find the openings and apply so that you guys can get your doors open? Is it on the website, or where would be the best place to find that?
That would be, so we actually post on LinkedIn and on Facebook and our own website. So just do a search for Alcohol and Drug Council of Tompkins County and use whichever platform you use or they use. It's alcoholdrugcouncil.org is the website. We actually, during business hours, our HR generalist has a live chat. So you can always ask questions through live chat. And there still are other positions to fill too.
Yes.
We need
more kitchen
help. We need, there are still some counseling positions open. So go to the website and see if something, sounds interesting to you. We're so excited to have any conversation, because every conversation we've had about this issue leads us to another potential solution or an idea. So even if, an RN live chats with her name's Alyssa, excuse me, and it doesn't work for whatever reason, shifts don't align or something. We always get like, hey, you should then talk to, if I can't do it, you should talk to this person.
Oh yeah.
And so, people, the community in general is really supportive of trying to get this up and running in its full capacity. So
that's awesome. All right, Angela, Stacy, Angela, best wishes to your retirement, or your recalibration, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And Stacy, best of luck with everything moving forward.
Thank you.
Great talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was great.
That'll do it for this edition of Finger Lakes Today. If you'd like to see more conversations like this one, check out the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the FingerLakes1.com YouTube channel. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.